How did you find your like employee number one? Yeah.
So the first two were already existing that we took over from the other doctor.
Okay.
The third one was actually my sister-in-law that we took. She was already working with Jaime in the other optometric practice that he was working with.
I see.
So she's been with him for a few years. And then when we purchased this practice, she came over and joined us.
I see.
So those were the three original staff. So a very established optician was already there. The front desk, she was about to actually leave with the old doctor. She was still new, but fortunately when we purchased, she stayed on, and she's amazing. She's helped us grow that practice tremendously.
Yeah.
So these are people that we'd call family,
Yeah, I was going to say it's like a family business almost.
It is. It really is a family business. We call them our work family, because we see them really more than a lot of our family,
Yeah. Yeah.
So the biggest expense, and we don't call it an expense per se. On paper it's an expense, but it's an investment, really.
Yeah.
And
it's a capital.
I invest in people, and I do.
Yeah.
And, the biggest return for us is investing in the right people.
Yeah. Amazing. Now, but get back to kind of like, when the rubber meets the road, you're like kind of balancing between your debt, you're going to pay down and versus paying your staff a really good salary. So what are some creative way that you kind of did that? Is there a certain compartmentalized, because you sound really organized, compartmentalized way for you to kind of allocate, okay, this is how much I can pay my staff for? Yeah.
Right. So there's optometric benchmarks, and we're very in tune. We always go to all the practice. We go to as much practice management, continuing education seminars to learn. And the funny thing is, we do all the benchmarks, and we're like, okay, this category, we're a little bit under, this one's a little bit over. So we're very creative in marketing. So we don't spend marketing dollars at the beginning. So a lot of our practice was word of mouth referrals.
Okay.
A lot of our referrals are, because we are in a young professional area, we see a lot of doctors, attorneys, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So having creative ways of getting them to refer patients in and building our patient base without having to spend the marketing dollars. So instead of allocating an X percentage of marketing dollars, like 3% is pretty typical for optometry, we didn't really spend any marketing dollars at all. So we would rather spend that money towards our staff.
Right.
And then we would go out and do healthcare screenings. We would do free events and just do vision. Anytime they have like vision things, or they have health medical things where you can set up a booth, and we would come out and try to do some of those to kind of get our practice brand out there. Yeah. We established a lot of doctor referrals and co-managements.
Oh,
so we started visiting other doctors in the community. And let them know kind of what our services are and kind of more in depth of what we do. Yeah. So a lot of doctors were referring. They started coming to us, but then they also started referring their patients in. So that was a good way for us to grow revenue. We did a lot of, we started having products to kind of create a new category of revenue. Yeah. We started carrying products inside the office and selling those. And those were ways to kind of boost. So we had a lot of creative ways of boosting revenue. Yeah. That's outside of optometry per se.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and then you came up with these ideas?
Jaime is the innovator. I have to give him credit, because he's really the one who's very forward thinking. Yeah. He's very innovative with technology. Each piece of our equipment is very high in price, but the returns on those have been great. Yeah. And he'll invest in things that I was like, that doesn't sound like it really has to do with optometry.
Stop spending money on this.
So it's like, okay, do we want to budget for new equipment? Is it how long will it take for us to really get that back and even out on that piece of equipment? Yeah. But I have to say, he's been very good about doing good about picking the right thing.
So, like there's a business system that talk about in implementers and visionaries. So it sounds like you guys kind of have that perfect combo there,
yes,
where
I'm the implementer, he's a visionary.
Yeah. That sounds a very good combination there.
Yeah.
Is that why you select him as a husband to start with?
So, my criteria was, I'm a big traveler, and he's a big foodie. So my criteria was like, someone who complemented my skills well, of course, but also someone who traveled and had the same values as me. And he's super hardworking, same work ethic. And that's really what bonded us, was our vision and our work ethic. And, but no, he's very, we're very different in certain ways.
Yeah.
But we complement our as husband and wife very well, and as business partners. People are like, "Are you sure you want to partner with your husband?"
Yeah. Yes. That doesn't quite work out always, right?
But it does, because we do totally different things in the practice. So we don't touch each other's. We're not on each other's toes.
Yeah.
We're very receptive of, okay, what he's really good at, what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
And that's helped a lot. But yes, financials are important. We benchmark our numbers. We always look at, okay, what category are we spending too much in? Where do we need to be? Where can we improve? Where's there wiggle room of our budget? So we're we're number peoples.
Yeah.
So we have KPIs, we have tracking systems. We do this every single month. We share these numbers with our staff. Our staff takes a lot of pride. We put each person in charge of a certain area of growing that number. So benchmarking those numbers, if you don't measure it, there's no way of knowing how you're doing and how to grow that.
Yeah.
So, in our practice very early on, and the people who've been with us for a very long time have seen the numbers grow, and they take so much pride because they've had so much to do with that growth. Yeah. They've given us ideas and they've helped implement things and seen how the practice has grown.
That's amazing. Now tell us a little bit more about, what do you want to do now? Like, actually going back a little bit over there, it sounds like there's such amazing system building, like in your whole practice. What would be some, what would be some of the books or the training that really is eye-opener for you to help you start thinking about that? For some of our listeners over here that may not at that sophisticated level, but like, is there something that kind of really a life-changing event for you in terms of changing your view of building a business and how you actually go about it?
We attend a lot of different, from personal growth to business growth. So we're a big follower of Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins has, the business mastery and wealth mastery, but then we also follow a lot of optometry, practice management people that kind of build systems. And so we pick and choose kind of what works for us, tailor to kind of our business model and practice. Yeah. So business mastery was a very good one that we attended. Tony Robbins hosted that one. Keith Cunningham has a 4-day MBA program. And we learn a lot from Keith Cunningham when he does, but there's no particular book, I would say, that we really follow. It's just bits and pieces of different, we listen to different podcasts and audibles, and it goes from all full spectrum, from self-growth to business things.
So if you had to rank, maybe one or two, let's just say the most recent ones that you kind of listen to that you feel like, wow, could take a lot away from this, what would you recommend some for our viewers? Yeah.
So on my way to work, I listen to, because I'm a big Tony Robbins fan, I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins things. But Tony Robbins is really not, when you listen to his things on YouTube or Audibles, it's not really business related. Yeah. But I think for me, it is business related, because a lot of the core things that they teach instill discipline. Yes. And instill routines, and instills repetition. And if you have a clear distinction of what you need to do and you relay that to your team, it creates a clear expectation and structure for the team. Yeah. So having the staff, everybody understand exactly what their roles are what the goals are, what the vision is. I think those are things I incorporated and learned from Tony Robbins, and I incorporate that into the business model. So it's not per se like, okay, this is, per se business, but it's so part of it is mindset and motivation things, but you do have to have structure. You have to have training in a way that everybody understands and people are executing. And I think that's important, because sometimes you can't assume. I don't micromanage. I empower my team to be able to do that, but I want to make sure there's checks and systems and balance where if I'm checking in remotely anywhere, there's always a way for me to track, are things getting done? Are the numbers making sense? And, so I'm always in touch of an overview picture of what's going on. I have a pulse on the practice, but I'm not micromanaging and making sure everyone's doing what they're doing.
Yeah. So walk us through like a typical day, like your Hua is doing her, work traveling adventure with your 2 young kids, right?
One, just the one.
One young kid. Okay, great. 2 changes the game. And so how are you kind of how would a check-in kind of look like for you?
Yeah, so I have a system on that I can check from my phone or my laptop, and I can log in and I can access the EMR system, and I have videos in all my offices, so I can see everything that everyone's doing physically at any time on my phone. And I can log
micromanaging, right?
We have cameras installed everywhere, so if I wanted to look and see what's going on, or if they have a question, I can remotely log in and look at the numbers, or kind of look if they have a question about a patient or something. My staff is really good. They usually don't ever call me on vacation unless there's a true emergency, because everyone they know kind of what the game plan is, and everyone can handle without me being there, but I can log in. They send me the reports every night. So every single night in the email, they send me the totals and kind of what we've done for the day.
Okay.
There's a daily task list that's on our EMR system. So I know if all of those have been done. It initials dates and times, who did it, when it was done. So in a quick 2-second glimpse, I look in and I logged in. I'm like, okay, so-and-so did this. Okay, all the things that were supposed to be done a priority have already been done for today.
Got it.
So there's a daily task list I can check in on the schedule at any time and log in remotely. There's an internal messaging system that we use in the office to communicate with each other, that we don't actually have to email or text each other.
It's amazing.
So there's a lot of ways now that I really don't, we have 4 associate doctors now. So, between both offices, there's 6 of us now. So if we're out, then the other doctors fill in for us more. If we're there, then we'll work a little bit more if we need to, but that's how we have the flexibility. But whether it's a new doctor or whether it's an old doctor, it doesn't matter who the doctor is. The staff knows the system of how to operate it.
That's awesome.
From A to Z, that's
awesome. That's awesome. So what is it from here on? Like, I mean, you've built a successful business that you can remove yourself. Now, what does that kind of look like in the future? What are some bigger goals that you want to hit? Because you're always a goal-oriented person. I'm sure once you achieve something, you come up with another thing that you want to go after.
Yeah. So the past few years, about 4 years ago, we started venturing into real estate. So, we wanted to find other avenues of passive income aside from income that we had to work for from our practice. So fortunately, we've been able to cash flow well. And then we started looking into, my husband wanted a 3rd practice, and I absolutely did not want another practice.
But they're so easy to set up.
It is. So now, everyone's like, but why? You've got it down now. You know how to do it. You build a system. You can just keep hiring doctors and let it run.
Yeah.
But we wanted a new challenge, and we wanted to learn something else that we didn't know yet. So that's why we ventured into real estate. We always knew real estate was a good way of building wealth and passive income and things like that. So that's how we ventured into real estate. And and then we started multifamily a couple of years ago. But prior to multifamily, we were doing, and we invested in a resort in Belize.
Yeah.
We started buying land.
Yeah.
We custom built a home, and we're renting it out now.
Yeah.
And then, we've done a lot of passive investing in apartments now. So we're getting really lots of different avenues of passive income coming in, which is nice. And our next chapter now is we really want to get our feet wet more into actively getting into being a sponsor in the real estate avenue in multifamily.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been our next venture that we've been focusing on.
You're just really doing this for fun, like multifamily stuff, really just for fun. Kind of really not fair. Yeah.
It's a new challenge. My husband is, he is really the one who really wanted a new challenge. And, we're super excited. We do everything together, which is pretty funny. Like, so optometry, and then we do all the Tony Robbins together. So from personal growth things to real estate, we try to attend most of the things together. We learn and grow together. And this has been our new fun. It's exciting for us. It's fun, so we're out there, we're touring properties, we're underwriting, and we're learning A to Z. And I kind of like learning A to Z, although I know most people probably don't have to do that if you're only going to do one part of the equation. Just like optometry, I don't have to learn A to Z to do it. I just learn the doctor side of it. But for me, it's fun. I want to learn the A to Z, the nitpicky detailed things, even though I don't plan on doing that. I want to understand it. It's I
enjoy
it's
building
easier for me to have. So for me, it's all about building systems. So for me, when I learn something new, I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So just like optometry, when I got in, I'm looking at everybody else. I'm like, no, there's got to be a more effective way of doing this. And that's how I'm looking at multifamily. As I'm getting my feet wet, I'm learning. And I was like, there's got to be better systems. And I know there's good systems, but I was like, there's got to be, I've got to learn first the basics,
Right.
And then from the basics, get into it. And then from there, see if I can build better systems upon that,
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's our new challenge.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, why the passive income? Because I mean, could I view your practice as almost a passive income too? Because you only have to work whenever you want to.
Yeah.
And now this is just a different passive income.
We've built it a long ways. We still have. It's not technically passive because the staff work under us. So we still have employees that we still have to make sure, so although they run pretty much, we still have to manage them.
Yeah.
So we're not completely hands off on that aspect because we still want to make sure we get a good pulse of the practice, that our staff is, not getting complacent. So the biggest thing for us is we make sure that as we're growing and succeeding, that no one gets complacent, including us. So complacency is big. So although everything is doing well, we're always prepared for a downturn. And that's in anything we do. So I was like, okay, there's going to be a downturn. And what happens when there's a downturn or the numbers are not growing anymore like we've been used to?
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, don't ever get complacent. So yes, we enjoy pretty good cash flow, very good cash flow from our practices. We've been able to hire more doctors now so we can have more time. And if I didn't want to practice anymore, that's an option. But I mean, I'm too young for that. I still love a lot of patients come and travel to see us. I enjoy it. I love patient care still. So 2 days a week for me is great. And for me to have the rest of the time to create a new challenge and work in, and our new passion is like, we've been really interested and excited about the multifamily world.
And make a dent there.
Yeah. And I know it's not all glory and everything, just like any business, there's, I understand that.
Well, I'm not traveling everywhere. Actually, you do travel everywhere, and it's write-offable expenses, but you're actually also working.
But building systems takes time. It's trial and error. So it's not like a miraculous thing or one person or one book. It's cumulative.
Yeah.
And what works for someone else may not necessarily work the same way for you.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for us is having good, just the work culture needs to be good. It has to be a happy environment. And that's big for us. We're very happy people. We're very laid back. The type of people we interact with, we're very, particular about having a good react. So if we always say hire slow, fire fast. So they have to be a good team player, and that's in any. Even with our multifamily journey, we've met so many fabulous people, and that's been a big growth journey for us the past few years, getting into the multifamily world, because we've met so many people from all walks of life. Amazing background, including you. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at you with 2 kids. I'm like, look at what you're doing, So it's an honor, that we get to meet really different people outside of our scope of practice, instead of just seeing normal optometrists that we usually see for our meetings. Multifamily, I'm seeing walks from attorneys to doctors to IT to all walks of life, everywhere. So it's been so exciting. I'm like, man, we get to meet so many cool people, and everyone has such a story, and we learn so many things from different people, And it's funny because we take a lot of this and we teach our staff anything that we come home and we get excited about.
That's great.
Whether it's related to optometry or not. We shared with them, and they share the same level of excitement with us, because they learned something else.
You just don't want them to go FI on you, right? But that's fantastic. And the other thing is, now we're just kind of about tee this off. We want to kind of ask you a question about, because you have a young kid. So finding that family balance, it's very important. And then as such, what are you teaching your kids to install the good financial habits or entrepreneur habits with that? Yeah.
So it's really funny because my daughter, she's 5, just started kinder, but she's always had very early on, she was stashing money that we didn't know in her little toy car.
That's funny.
And when we asked her, what are you doing with all that money in your car? And she said, I'm saving it to buy hotels. So because we travel so much, she loves hotels, now that we walk properties, she tours properties with us sometimes.
Nice.
Not on the official property tour, but like if we're just driving by or visiting, passively invested in, we'll walk the property. So she's very used to the scope. She comes to our office, she sees, our practice and things like that. So she's very, she's going to be an entrepreneur. I can already tell it,
Great.
But we even discipline at home, like chores. We give her chores very early on. She's very independent. So we teach her that very early on. She enjoys that process. She's independent. She likes to do it. She is very good at math, and she likes her numbers and her cash, and she knows how to count all of that very well.
That's great. Well, so thank you so much, Kwa, for joining me today. And I learned so much about, how to run a business. This is really amazing. All business alike, I think there's a certain lesson to learn from your session. It's, hardworking, having eyes on the goal, and then really thinking about how to run the business instead of just working in the system. Working in the business versus working on the business. And also all these stories about your little ones and how you install the value in them. It's so very helpful. And thank you so much for your valuable time today.
Thank you so much for having me.